everybody. Just gonna adjust the camera. Okay. Hi. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm gonna give it a few minutes. Thanks. Can I have my palms down? On the nightstand. Benefits of having an assistant, aka my wife. Hey Steve, how's it going? You ready for next week? Hi Joe. We are T-minus 9 days, something, I don't know, a little over a week from our psychic fair. So that's so exciting. Yes, it does. Retrograde's got me already. Thank you, dear. Oy vey. I'm telling you, it's real. It's been affecting me for 3 weeks, probably. I'm an overachiever. What can I say? That and the new moon eclipse is just throwing me for a loop as well. My emotions have been very much running on high, which is not surprising in the sign of Cancer. I love you all dearly, but 100% just up here. I've had to check myself quite a few times. And Phineas is already running all over the house with some sort of toy. I don't even know. So we'll see if he makes an appearance later. He's running. But I always say in my YouTube readings that it's a good omen when Phineas shows up. So we'll see. Hi, Jenny. That cat, he's wild. There is so much going on in the world. I mean, no wonder our energies are crazy. The eclipse, Mercury retrograde, we have like 7 other planets in retrograde as well. If you don't think it affects us, you are very much mistaken. Maybe I'll convert you. Hi, Rick. Oh, this has been a very emotional, I'm going to go out on a limb and say a month for us, especially here in the United States. It's been absolutely crazy. Well, Jenny, that's a loaded question. So tonight we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde and the new moon eclipse and how those energies can affect us, and some ways to kind of navigate that energy. Hopefully some tips that will help you. And I'll pull a couple of cards, see if we can get some guidance and some inspiration. I have my appropriate Yasmin Boland deck, her Moonology deck, and I have Trusty Tarot as well. It's so easy to feel worried and frightened, isolated. I mean, we're coming out of quarantine, so to speak, but we're not necessarily going out and about the way that we used to, and we don't have to. Hi, Jamie. Congratulations. She's going to be a grandmother. That's awesome. 100% new beginnings. So that's fantastic. Great. Anyway, so we should be definitely feeling the effects of being in quarantine, being cooped up inside, maybe by ourselves, maybe with other people, maybe we wish we were by ourselves. It's all relative, so to speak. But definitely the way that we interact with other people has changed drastically. Thankfully, we are in the age of social media and technology, and we can keep up with people in ways that we wouldn't have been able to even 20 years ago. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but I remember 20 years ago, I was heading into my senior year of high school. Don't tell. I'm old. But how different things were back then. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have social media. We didn't have any of that stuff. We weren't texting. Probably just within the last 10 or 12 years have we really started texting. So it's completely understandable that we feel so crazy with our energies. Mercury retrograde actually started on Thursday, though, like I said, I've been feeling it for a really long time. Hi, Mom. It's funny. Sometimes Mercury retrograde will throw me for a complete loop. I'll trip over my words. My technology doesn't work. Autocorrect hates me already. It just double hates me in retrograde. So, in other times, it's like, oh, it was in retrograde? I didn't even feel it. So that caused me to really start paying attention to where it is astrologically and where that fits in my chart. So if you haven't already done your birth chart, Cafe Astrology, if you know it's super, no matter who does your birth chart, but they do a free one and it's a nice little overview. So if you know your exact time and location that you were born, it's even more thorough. It'll give you more information than you'll ever want to know, but it's fascinating to start looking at. And I've always followed horoscopes and pretty much did the whole Pisces thing. So yeah, your debit card. So Jamie brought up a good point. So sometimes financial glitches can happen. My poor wife got hacked. So, we've been dealing with that. And luckily it wasn't too terrible. We were able to catch it pretty quickly. But stuff like that can happen. An email gets sent to your boss that you didn't proofread first, or, maybe you changed the wording and then it didn't quite copy paste correctly. Stuff gets lost. It happens. So with Mercury retrograde, we just have to be extra careful. There's nothing to be afraid of. A lot of people are afraid for various reasons, and mostly it's just because they don't necessarily understand what's going on. But I always knew I was a Pisces sun sign, but that's not the whole story. You have a moon, rising, Venus, all the planets. So it's your north and south node, which has to do with what you have learned in the last life, which is your south node, and then your north node, which is what you're doing in this lifetime, and how that kind of flows throughout your lifetime. It's really, really fascinating. So Cafe Astrology has the free version. So definitely check out your birth chart, even if you have no idea what it means. When you're reading, if you're someone who likes to read horoscopes, or if you're getting a reading, or if you go to an astrologer, or if I'm doing a reading for you, or you're watching any of my YouTube videos and I say air sign and you're kind of like, what does that mean? Or when I say check out your other signs like your Venus, your moon, or your rising sign, because it can give you more to the story. And sometimes it resonates more for you because our moon means something and our rising sign means something and our Venus sign means something. So I'm by no means an astrologer. I'm very much a novice in that area. But it is fascinating to see some of those different signs. So when you find out where Mercury retrograde is in your chart each time around, we go through Mercury retrograde 3 or 4 times a year. So it really messes with us. Hi, Melissa. So it can definitely be something that's affecting us. And like I said, other times we might not feel it at all. It just depends on where it is in your chart, and it can kind of help you just understand a little bit more. So like I said, it started last Thursday and it goes all the way through July 12th. So what is Mercury retrograde? Basically, it's an optical illusion. From our vantage point here on Earth, it looks like Mercury is going backwards, like it's normally going one way, but all of a sudden it looks like it kind of stops and then it goes stationary. So it stations and then it goes backwards, and then it stations and then it comes and goes forward again. So basically it's just like there's a shadow period before and after. So when it goes forward and it kind of stops for a minute and then it comes back and then it stops and then it goes forward again, those are the shadow periods. So really we spend like, and they're probably 7 to 10 days on either side of it. So really we're spending like 5 or 6 weeks in Mercury retrograde with the shadow periods. So the 3 weeks in the middle and then a week and a half and a week and a half. So we're looking at like 5 or 6 weeks. And you multiply that by 3 or 4 times a year, we spend like half the year in Mercury retrograde. So it's no surprise things are crazy. But Mercury was named for the Roman deity to the gods. So, you know, he's got the wings on his feet and he's the messenger and he just kind of, he goes really fast. So that's kind of the energy that we're bringing in with Mercury retrograde. That's why like it rules communication and travel and technology for those reasons. So that's why we feel it so heavily, because it occurs so frequently. We spend half our year in retrograde, and it's our closest planet to the sun in our solar system. So we feel it pretty hard. That's why a lot of people are like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde, or you see the memes about Mercury's in Gatorade or something, you know, they're fun. They're fun. This time around, retrograde is in the sign of Cancer or a moonchild, however you identify. No judgment here. But it's a great time to get in touch with like more difficult emotions, because Cancer's a water sign, and we're in Cancer season right now. So shout out to all the Cancers out there. And Cancers are wonderful people. Some of my best friends are Cancers. So being a fellow water sign with Pisces, we get along pretty well, swimmingly, so to speak. We can pretty much go with the flow, but Cancerians do kind of sidestep like a crab. So when we have difficult emotions, we might just kind of like gloss over it and step around it. This is not the time to do that. This is the time it's not the time to be indecisive. It's more like healthy introspection and taking a look and not being afraid of your emotions. So people who have a hard time expressing emotion might have a hard time this time around with Mercury retrograde being in Cancer. But Cancer also focuses on the home, and they're very family oriented, but they can also tend to be a hermit. So whether lockdown quarantine, however you want to put it, has been good to you for that reason, or because you're going crazy, take it how it works for you. But there can be some frustrations around the home life right now. You might be quarreling with the people that you live with, whether it's your family or your roommates, or if you live alone, it could just be your neighbors, somebody who's just kind of making it a little more difficult than it needs to be. We can also, during retrogrades in general, we can have some frustrations due to technology and travel. Like I said, the cat is currently playing with the tripod. Hopefully he doesn't knock it over. Phineas. He's so bad. He has a milk ring off of the milk jugs. It's one of his favorites. I don't even know why we buy him toys. But anyway, so technology, like I said earlier, could be disrupted, like with the emails, travel. So if you have to go somewhere, I know that that's not really happening a whole lot right now, but just make sure that your car that the gas gauge is working, that you've had a fresh oil change, that you're just taking care of that. If you are flying, just make sure that you're arriving. You give yourself plenty of time to arrive plenty early to get through all the checks and balances that need to happen. You could get stopped by TSA and searched. You know, they could go through your bags. It's just kind of a crazy thing. Yeah, teenagers, yay. They're fun, aren't they? Oh, I can't complain too much. My teenager's pretty sweet, but every once in a while he gives me a little bit of an attitude. So it constantly feels like Mercury retrograde in our household. Make sure that maybe you have some travel insurance, or you get a warranty, especially if you're renting a car instead of driving your own, that you triple check the contracts. that you sign, just anything that you're doing, just be extra careful. Like make a list. I am a huge fan of lists. My wife will tell you that. I love my lists. I make lists to keep track of my lists. I love lists. So that can help so that you can check and then go back through and double check to make sure that you've packed everything, that you've taken care of everything, that you've asked all the questions that you needed to ask, so that you can go back if you think of something else or if you miss something. It's okay. Just exercise a lot of patience and caution. And then, traffic jams could happen. So make sure that you're prepared for delays. With your technology, back up your data. Make sure that it's backed up maybe in multiple ways, like to a Google Drive and then to the cloud and then to an external hard drive and then maybe save another file somewhere else, just to make sure you've got all your bases covered. And if you don't just rely on one form of GPS, make sure you have a backup, because the map might, like we know apps crash all the time. So you might have an app where your map crashes and you have no idea where you're going. Might sound a little old school, but maybe MapQuest, or write it down, or get someone to text you directions or something. Just have a backup plan for your backup plan. That can help you. As far as relationships go, you could have some fallings out. That could happen. People from the past could also come back that you've had fallings out with before. So you could be experiencing some misunderstandings, especially according to tone, or something could be just misconstrued that was said, especially if it was in a text or email. And then Freudian slips. Just be extra careful. And just make sure that you have set clear intentions. So you don't have to be superfluous, but it's also a good idea to make sure that you have absolutely stated every single thing. Not just, oh, they should know what I mean. They might not. Hi, Tim. It's a good idea to just make sure that you're not saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, that you're thinking before you speak, just being extra cautious. It's never a bad idea. It's just during this energy and with everything, just the emotions on high right now. Brandy and I witnessed something at the grocery store yesterday that was escalating quickly. Let's just say that there was an irate customer and she was not happy, and there was a lot going on. That you could tell it was more than just what was happening at the grocery store, that she was carrying some baggage with her. So if you are working and somebody comes in and they just start unloading on you, just breathe. Know that it might not have anything to do with you, or if a coworker is doing that, or if a family member comes home, if your spouse comes home and starts unloading, just know that it more than likely has nothing to do with you, but you're the one that's getting the brunt of it. Also, so back to contracts for just a second. Funny thing. So if you absolutely have to do something, or you're choosing to, like I said, if you're driving out of state and you're taking a rental car because you don't want to take your car, totally fine. Just triple check everything. If you're starting a new job, that's great. This has been a crazy first 6 months to this year. Sometimes things come up and you have to do things, or, maybe there's a home repair that's coming up. It's unavoidable. I bought my car during Mercury Retrograde and I didn't know it. It was 5 years ago, and I love my car. I love her. She's so pretty. I love my car. So my dad went with me just to make sure everything was cool. And I'm so blessed. Happy Father's Day to my daddy and to all the fathers out there. But I'm very fortunate to have my dad. So we went to the dealership, and it's where he had bought his and mom's vehicles for the last several years prior to that he had bought all the fleet vehicles that he had for the business. So we're talking lots and lots of vehicles over the years. And he just went with me to make sure everything was okay, because even in the 21st century, women are treated not as well at car dealerships. And I am smart enough to know that I don't know anything when it comes to that kind of stuff. I hadn't purchased a vehicle on my own yet, so this was my first shot. So Dad went with me, and I had no idea it was Mercury retrograde. No clue. Found out. I was just interested when I was doing my notes for tonight's live, and I looked back, and sure enough, there it was. It was a Mercury retrograde, which explains so much. So we go, and at first, it was just a whole debacle. At first, they tried to give me a higher, like 3% higher interest rate, which would have taken my payments way far up on the scale. They didn't want to give us as much for the trade-in of the vehicle. Basically, we weren't even sure if it was the same car I had test drove a few days before that. However, everything ended up going through okay, but it was a headache and a half. We actually said to each other, we were going to get up and we were going to walk out. It's like, no, this is not the deal that we agreed to. This is not what we wanted. This is not what you told us. We're not very happy with how we're being treated, considering how many vehicles we purchased here. See ya. So the guy that usually does the sales was no longer a salesman. He did leases and something different. I don't know. He was higher up at that time. He stopped us, and basically we got everything turned around, but it was just not a fun time at all. So it worked out. I just paid her off. She is officially mine. So it's worked out. She's been a great car, and I love her. But just know that things like that can happen. Personal experience. So usually this isn't a time for big changes, but it is really good for what I call the re's. Reflect, review, renew, recalibrate, readjust, remove what doesn't serve you, rejuvenate, restate. Sometimes you have to kind of back to those clear intentions. Relax, just chill, recharge, self-care, reconnect with people, and if you need to, retreat. That's okay. That's self-care as well. It's kind of the energy of like measure twice, cut once, just so that you're absolutely sure that you're doing the right thing. Like I said, other planets go retrograde, but we just feel this one more intensely because it happens so often, and it affects our communication, our technology, and our travel, which we do every day in our lives. So we just really, really feel this energy. So Pluto's currently retrograde. It was retrograde starting in April, and it's going through October. So it's like 6 months long in retrograde. It's in the sign of Capricorn right now, which is about major transformation. Hi, Peggy. So you can see that that's happening in our world right now, and it could be happening in your own personal lives too. Saturn is also currently retrograde. It went retrograde in May, and it's going all the way through the end of September. So another like almost 5 month long retrograde, also in Capricorn, but it kind of splits between Capricorn and Aquarius. So pay attention to your hopes and dreams and figure out how to bring them into reality. Venus is also in retrograde. She was starting in May, I think 13th. And then going through next week to the 25th. So we've got about 6 weeks with Venus retrograde. I have no idea what the cat just knocked over. Sorry about that. So Gemini it's in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is very talkative, very chatty, very much about communication. So it could be Venus in itself could be messing with your emotions. And because of the chatty Gemini, could be causing you to have conversations around those emotions. So you could be having some difficult conversations about getting your needs met. But remember that you deserve love and abundance. All of the positive stuff. Your love life is more than likely going to get interesting, but in a good way. So whether you're getting those needs met or you're not and you're moving on, could be bringing somebody back from the past as well with retrogrades, ×2. And Gemini likes to dig for the truth and facts, which keeps the energy balanced with Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So relationships could be getting a huge review. Jupiter is in retrograde, started back in May and goes all the way through September. So we got about 4 months there. And it's also in Capricorn. This is the year for Capricorn. So if you are a Capricorn, this is your year. Like it or not, for better or for worse. So this is about pursuing your goals and ambitions. Jupiter is a very expansive planet and it rules Sagittarius. So all of my lovely Sagittarians out there, I love you all. Jupiter is your ruling planet, so you could really feel this retrograde. Neptune is going in retrograde starting tomorrow all the way through the end of November. So we got a solid 5 months there in the sign of Pisces, which Neptune rules Pisces. So my fellow Pisces, we might be feeling this. It lifts the curtains away from any illusions that we have about life, and it's really good for setting boundaries. So if you didn't watch my video about boundaries, setting healthy boundaries, go back and watch that. It might resonate for you. And then also Mars is in retrograde, not until September and through November. So about 2 months, Mars goes retrograde in Aries, which Mars rules Aries. So that's going to affect our drive and ambition. And it's also very passionate energy, very fiery. So we might be learning some lessons about why people or things get under our skin. And we could be seeing some more unrest, and that's right on top of election season here in the US. So here we go. Retrogrades in general can bring back people from the past, like I said. You could be reconnecting with an old romantic interest. It could be old friends, family members you haven't talked to in a really long time, old coworkers. Hey, how's it going? What you doing? You never know. So you could become increasingly nostalgic and sentimental. You might be looking through old yearbooks or old photo albums. Your memories on Facebook might be extra special to you. So with Cancer being very emotional, just let the feelings flow. Find a safe space and some time to go through those old letters, photo albums, whatever it might be, and just let yourself feel through it. Journals, just see how life has changed and how far you've come, and see if you're happy with how life has gone for you. And if not, one of the readjust. But be careful not to get obsessive, because if you feel the pull to reach out to someone and bury the hatchet or rekindle a spark, this is a good time to do it. However, know that there is always free will. So somebody might not be feeling nostalgic in the way that you are. I'm going to go ahead and caveat it there. So just do it with detachment and discernment. So they might not be ready. Also, don't let the energy trick you into unhealthy territory. We have the tendency to romanticize. Like, oh my gosh, do you remember when we used to go? We used to ride bikes, or, you know, if it's a childhood friend, or obviously with romantic interest, oh, we had such a great time. Make sure that you're also remembering it's totally fine to bury the hatchet, to forgive. But if it was toxic, leave the toxicity behind. And make sure that you're able to recognize anybody who's trying to manipulate you or blame you or play the victim or shame you or guilt you. That stuff needs to be left in the past. But if everybody's healed and they're all ready to bury the hatchet, this is a great time to do it. So see, it's not all bad. In fact, it's just a really great time to do a self-assessment. So since Mercury retrograde happens basically quarterly, it's a good time to kind of like clean out your closet, maybe literally, but also figuratively. Just in general, be prepared. It's basically inconveniences. It's not anything major. Just look before you leap. Get into a spiritual practice and find your zen. Be into self-care. I'm always a huge proponent of self-care. You all know that. So just go within and find your peace. It's also, with Cancer, it's also a good time to make amends and apologize and correct past mistakes, like I said, to bury the hatchet. And also, even if you don't necessarily want to talk to somebody, or if it doesn't quite go the way that you wanted it to, maybe they don't want to talk to you, they're not ready, whatever it might be, it's still a good time to find inspiration from those past lessons and experiences. And just remember, you have been through it before. We'll get through it again. You probably didn't even know that it was happening before. Some of the things that you can do to kind of ease the energy of Mercury retrograde is to, first and foremost, just count your blessings. Just be in gratitude. Be thankful for all that you have. Like I said, minor inconveniences. Clean your house. Like I said, literally or figuratively, clean your closet. You could do like a total wash the walls kind of stuff. Or just get rid of, now that places are open again, you can get rid of things that no longer serve you, that you don't need, and that somebody else might be able to benefit from. You could also redecorate, especially with Cancer being over the home. So you could redecorate or even remodel. But be careful, because if you're signing contracts for somebody to come and do an addition, make sure you have your permits, make sure that you have the assessment, that the estimate has pretty much as much ground as they could possibly cover, barring any massive unforeseen circumstances, so that you're not surprised by, oh, you didn't tell me that I would need an extra wall here with a supporting beam, and now we're talking another $3,000. Just be careful. Make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. See? Mercury retrograde. Let's see. Keep your receipts. That's another one. Make sure you keep your receipts, that you're tracking, that you're marking it out of your checkbook so that you're not hit with an unexpected charge. Or, man, I thought, this happens to me outside of Mercury retrograde. Wow, I thought that already cleared. Huh. Well, shit. So that could happen. Something that you could do to kind of reconnect with your roots is to do some genealogy. Just kind of look back. That kind of fits in with the nostalgia as well. So do your family tree. See how far you can go back. You can also reconnect with friends and family virtually. Like I said earlier, we live in a wonderful time where we can do that. We can have FaceTime or Zoom meetings or Google Hangouts or whatever it is you use, so that you can have a virtual happy hour or a birthday party, or however it goes. You could rethink your diet or your cooking skills. You could sharpen those up so that you do some more cook from home meals, which is good considering the lockdown. You could also be reconsidering the family life that you want and that you need. So back to getting those needs met. Do your birth chart. Chakra clearing and meditation. There's all kinds of great chants and singing bowls and sound baths and salt lamps and salt caves and stuff that you can do that's by appointment. Massages, mani-pedis. I did that the other day. And then prayer. So some things are unavoidable. Like my dad's having surgery next week on his shoulder. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting lots of intentions and setting lots of prayers, because anything can happen. Anything can happen anytime. So it's just like I'm extra doing it. invoking the archangels to guide the doctor's hands to work perfectly, divine inspiration to the doctors for the best placement of the surgical tools, clear communication between the doctors, the nurses, the anesthesiologists, anybody else who might be in there, that it was perfectly sterilized and cleaned before he went in, and that he has perfect healing and recovery, and doing lots of Reiki and symbols and all the things that I do. So that's something you can do for yourself as well. So some things are unavoidable. And if you're signing contracts or if you have to have something done, just know that there are things that you can do to kind of help ease that energy. So if you are looking for improvement in your love life, which I know there are people, even in a committed relationship, you could be looking for a way to rekindle that energy or just kind of, reconnect with your partner. So this particular round of Mercury retrograde is great for that because it's in Cancer, sign of the home and family. So it's also this time around in connection with star Sirius, which is associated with abundance. So the influence of the sparkly star can actually help your relationships. So it's a good time to reconnect with your loved ones. And also, if you're looking, I know that this is a really weird time to be doing that, but it's totally okay. It's also a perfect time for forgiveness. So if you've hurt anyone's feelings recently, you might not have meant to, but Mercury retrograde, it can definitely happen. Do your best to understand where you went wrong, kind of get it from their perspective, and sincerely and gracefully apologize for your part. They have to take responsibility for their part, but you're in charge of you. I'm talking to you. So just know that it's a good time to make up with someone if you need to. The Ho'oponopono, it's Hawaiian. And it's the, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you can do that with anybody in your life, anybody who's no longer in your life. You can just send the energy out there. If the person's deceased, you can send it. And you can also do that for yourself. You can connect with your soul. You can look in the mirror, however it is for you, and you can do the, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's so incredibly powerful. I can't explain to you how it has actually worked in my personal life. I'm a huge proponent, self-care and that ritual. Just my 2 cents there. Mercury retrograde with communication. So if you find yourself that you're quick to speak, not many of us listen to absorb, we listen to respond. So rather than necessarily just lashing out at somebody, or you're thinking about things and you just want to send off that text, or you want to call that person, whatever it is, first pause, take a step back and ask yourself, what do you want to be the outcome of this conversation? Are you just blowing off steam? Or do you want to understand? Are you looking for an apology? Whatever it is, what is the ultimate outcome that you desire? And then go from there. Because then you might understand yourself a little bit better and your intentions, and you might decide not to contact that person. Or it might actually, if you were feeling fearful, it might actually give you the courage to connect with that person. Could go either way. So that is my quick-ish rundown of Mercury retrograde. Feel free to ask any questions or any comments in the box. I will try to catch them as I see them. But otherwise, I will move on to the new moon eclipse in Cancer after I get a sip of water. So the new moon eclipse in Cancer, From everything that I've read, I'm going to say the key word for this one is compassion. Compassion with others and compassion with yourself. So a little bit of background first. There are 8 astrological moon phases. So we have the new moon, which is what we're in right now, where you can't see it. The crescent moon, obviously. First quarter, the gibbous, which is like right before it's full, and then the full moon. And then we have the disseminating moon, which is just after it's full. The third quarter, the balsamic, which is the match to the crescent. And then there's a 9th phase that isn't necessarily recognized by professional astrologers called the dark moon, but it's between the balsamic and the new moon, and it's really good for releasing that final little bit, like the shedding of all the stuff that doesn't serve you before the new moon, where we're manifesting. So, like I said, Cancer is over the home, and it's very nurturing and very family oriented, and can also be a little indecisive. Like I said, it sidesteps like a crab. It can be a little hermit-like. But the advice for this eclipse, like any other, is still the same. Try to stay home, engage in self-care, and avoid the drama. Declutter your space. Maybe do some sage, or if sage is too strong for you, you can do Palo Santo, or you can do spray, whatever it is. Just throw open all of the windows and air out the place, whatever it is for you. Just, it's your sanctuary. Make your space cozy. And then it's also the summer solstice, so it's our opportunity to celebrate. So there's some discrepancies. Some say it was yesterday, some say it's today, some say it depends on your hemisphere. I don't know. Here we are, somewhere around the 20th to the 21st, there's a summer solstice. So yay, longest day of the year. The light is back in our lives. But it's an opportunity to celebrate. Ancient people saw eclipses as an omen. So they kind of like got freaked out because they didn't know how to scientifically explain what they were seeing. So it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's like, there's nothing to fear. It just is. It's actually a good thing. It's a great time to get creative, and it's a new chapter in your life. So between the summer solstice and a new moon and a new moon eclipse, it's a fantastic time to start over, recreate, reinvent yourself. We know somebody who is transitioning and made the announcement that he is transitioning, and that's wonderful. So this is a great time to do that kind of stuff. So if something when you're doing the re's, if you're reevaluating some things, if what you've always done hasn't been working, there's a reason why. Sometimes when we've always done something, or we do something the way it's always been done, just because that's the way it's always been done, there's nothing wrong with tradition. But if there's room for improvement, this is a great time to make those improvements. Also, eclipses tend to stir up some political conflict. Like, we need any more of that right now? Yeah, but maybe we do. There's a lot going on, a lot being brought to the surface. We're being held up to a mirror right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is a fantastic opportunity to shed the old of what's no longer working and start over. Reinvent. Speaking of that, make sure that you implement some social media boundaries as well, so that you don't get caught up in the fear or the anger. We don't need any more of that kind of stuff. But make sure that you implement self-care, do a little bit of a social media drama detox. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's some people or some pages that you need to not necessarily unfollow or unfriend, but just maybe hide, you know, that whole snooze for 30 days thing. You can do that. It's very important that we stay on top of current events and that we participate in our world, but we don't necessarily need to be on 24/7. Let's just say that. It's okay to take a break, to take a step back, to breathe, to engage in some self-care so we don't get lost in the fear. The opposite of love is fear. So sometimes we need to step back into love so that we can enact the change that we want to see in the world. Speaking of, the eclipse can cause some unexpected changes, but that's okay. Think of it as the Tower card. People always get so scared when they see the Tower card. I'm like, yay! They're going, oh my God, what are you talking about? The Tower card is terrifying. It's this structure and people are falling out of it and there's a lightning bolt and everything's on fire. And it's kind of like, well, that's kind of our world right now. But what it actually means is it's just change. So, hi, Brian. How's it going in Uranus? Literally, he got a job in Missouri. So that's why. Not being vulgar. So, you know, everything's on fire. What it is anything, sometimes things need shaken up a little bit so that what no longer serves us falls away. And then the bricks that are left are tempered. And those are the bricks that we want to rebuild with because they have been through the storm and survived. So think of it as that. I'll bet it is. Think of that metaphor. So you have been through the storm and you are stronger for it. See, that's why I love the Tower card. Nothing to be afraid of. So this time can definitely be full of some unexpected changes. Roll with it as best you can. Your dreams could be very vivid at this time and journaling can help. I know I normally have crazy dreams. That's really nothing new for me. But during Mercury Retrograde and eclipses and the new and full moon, holy cowabunga, hiya Patty, things can get really, really, really weird in my dreams. So looking up dream interpretations and symbols and trying to kind of put the pieces together later on can be very helpful. My dreams last night were insane. Let's just say that. You could be feeling very anxious. So this is the opportunity to listen to your body. Always listen to what your body's trying to tell you, that if you need to rest or change your diet or get outside in nature and just walk around, whatever it is. Sometimes it's, you know, exercise to boost or your activity levels and your energy, and sometimes it's just time to take a nap and chill. No right or wrong. Whatever your body is telling you that you need, honor it, do it. Your healthy relationships should be okay during this time, but if there are things that haven't been said, if you've been holding back, like biting your tongue or just being complacent in some ways, expect those things to come to the surface, and it won't always be pretty, especially as Mercury retrograde. Like I said, it's all about getting your needs met. So instead of lashing out, take a step back and breathe. You have every right to say what you need to say to get your needs met, to advocate for yourself. But be gentle. Like I said, keyword, compassion. Eclipses reveal all, so don't be surprised if somebody in the heat of an argument or somebody finds something out. I'm not saying that there's shadiness, but there could be shadiness. I don't know. Just know that things are bubbling to the surface now, and it's because it needs to. It's not to cause drama and conflict because ha 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 ha. It's just because it needs to happen for your soul's growth and evolution. Also, you could need to reconnect with your loved ones. So it could be your family. It could be your chosen family, your friends, whoever it is. This is a fantastic time to do that because we want to be there for each other. Even people we don't know, we want to be there for each other. I don't know how many times my wife and I have leaned on each other and just sobbed at what's going on in this world and the things that have been so wrong, just so wrong. And how can that even happen? How can you do that? How can you call yourself a human being and allow those things to happen? Sometimes you just have to let it out. So we feel compassion for each other with all the craziness going on in the world. And we also have to remember to be kind to ourselves and take time for self-care. Yes, let it out. Do what you can to be the change that you want to see in this world. But also take the time for self-care because you can't pour from an empty vessel. New moons mark new beginnings. So this is a fantastic time for fresh starts. The solar eclipses amplify the power of new beginnings. So we got like the wonderful double rainbow, so to speak. It's ideal for setting intentions for the future. None of us knew when we were making our New Year's Eve resolutions in 2019 on December 31st that this is where we would be 6 months later. I know that was not even in my New Year's resolution plans. However, we can take, I think it's a fantastic, fabulous lesson for us to take what we've learned during this time and set intentions for the next 6 months. Because this energy, unlike other new moons that go for about the next month-ish, we're going out 6 months because it's an eclipse. So we got a long time. So this is really, really powerful for setting intentions and manifesting and making wishes and seeing what we want to do with ourselves. It's a perfect time to implement a self-care plan. So if that isn't in your 6-month plan, please put it in there. Make time for yourself. Mani-pedis, facials, massages, getting your hair done, spending time in nature, whatever it is for you. Maybe you're going to start painting again, journaling, writing a book, whatever it is. Take time for yourself. Take time for your soul and whatever makes your soul sing. So how do we manifest? That is one of the biggest topics. And I know when I was going through my initiation on my spiritual journey a few years ago, that was one of my biggest questions. How do I manifest what I want? And how do I make sure that I'm doing it right so that it comes to fruition? All right, so here we go. This time for the next 6 months, hi Sarah, is wonderful for manifesting, whatever it is. Really think about, spend some time in thought, meditation, prayer, whatever it is for you. Spend some time and think about, what do I want to accomplish over the next 6 months? It can be bigger, it can be smaller, but I would definitely try to go something in the next 6 months and really focus on that. You can use pyrite. I don't have my pyrite, but it's also called fool's gold. So you can use pyrite to manifest. You can hold it. You can write down what you want and put your pyrite on top of it. Whatever it is for you, just let it kind of simmer like a good sauce. And make sure that you're manifesting from the heart, not from the ego. So what I mean is, think about what it is you want. So I'm going to use a car. So you really want to manifest this awesome, brand new 2020, pick your poison. This car, brand new car. It's gorgeous. It's the color I want. It's got heated seats. It's got a moonroof. It's got all the bells and whistles that you could possibly want. I want this car. So are you manifesting this from the heart because it would get your family where you need to go? It would make it a little more comfortable for you. It's good for everybody involved. Or do you want it because it makes you look good? Because people would be jealous of you rolling up in that Tesla. There we go. We'll use Tesla. Because you're rolling up in that Tesla. People think you got money. People think that, whatever. You're super special and super cool because you drive a Tesla. You're super special and super cool because of who you are, not because of the car you drive. Hi, Amber. So, that is not manifesting from the heart. Not saying that wanting a Tesla isn't manifesting from the heart. If you're like, I want this car. I'm turning 50 this year and I want to treat myself and I've got plenty of money in the bank. I can pay cash for it. I just think it would be a fun car to have. Or is it because you want other people to see you in a certain light? There's a difference there. Hopefully you can see it. So when we manifest from the heart, one of the best things that you can do to really figure out if that didn't already help you, place your hands over your heart and think of someone or something. Do this now if you can. Place your hands over your heart. Think of someone or something or some place that just makes you spontaneously smile, even laugh. It just makes you so happy and so full of joy. Think of that right now. The first thing that comes to mind is probably the right thing. And then visualize what you want to manifest. Really feel what you want to manifest with that same joy that you have. Does it still feel that joyful or pretty close? Then you're manifesting from the heart. And use that joy and that gratitude to manifest whatever it is that you're trying to do into reality. If it doesn't feel, if you kind of feel like, ooh, no, it doesn't feel good, then you're not manifesting from the heart. You're manifesting from the ego. Not to say there's not a balance. If you want a promotion at work because it would be good for your career, the pay increase would be good for your family life, whatever. There is a balance. That's totally fine. That's still heart-centered. But it's not taking away from anybody else, and it's benefiting not just you. Then you're manifesting from the heart. So then once you have really felt it, really felt what it would feel like, see it. See yourself in that new house. See yourself driving that car. Yes, Aunt Patty, a nice beach trip. Absolutely. Feel yourself on the beach. Smell the air. Feel the sunshine, the sea breeze, the sand between your toes. Really feel it. Then give thanks to the universe, to God, the angels, whoever it is for you. Really give thanks, because gratitude is the secret ingredient to manifesting. So manifest from the heart. Always give gratitude. Feel that joy. And then just let it be. Just be open to receive whatever the universe is going to bring you. You can always also say this or something better. So if you see yourself in a red sports car and the universe brings you a blue sports car, you're not going to turn your nose up at least I would hope not, at the blue car just because it's not red. It's definitely something that's going to be from the heart. Just be open to what it is. Give gratitude. And the more energy that you put into this, some people like to do vision boards. That's great. Like I said, write it down or put pictures of yourself from previous trips under pyrite and just let it be. Put it on an altar, light candles, whatever it is that you do, whatever ritual you choose to do. The more energy, the better the results. So that's my manifesting 101. If you have tried manifesting before and it didn't work, go back and try what I said about manifesting from the heart and see if that helps. If maybe you were manifesting from the ego a little bit, or maybe, what is it? God's redirection. Or redirection is God's protection. I don't like to say rejection because that just doesn't sound right. Redirection is God's protection. So maybe if you had gone on that trip at that time, or gone to that location instead of the one that you went to, something might have happened. You might have hit a hurricane. The motel might have been full of roaches or bed bugs. You don't know. You never know. So just know that if it didn't work before, it doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just wasn't time, or maybe you weren't manifesting completely from the heart. And if it did work for you, feel free to share your success stories in the comments, because I'm sure we could all use all the help we can get manifesting all the fun things. But like I said, if it hasn't worked out yet, reevaluate the process or what you're manifesting, and just make sure that it's for the highest and greatest good of everyone. This or something better is a really great tagline at the end after you give thanks. Something that also on the manifesting, like I said, you're not taking away from anybody else. The universe doesn't understand lack. It only understands vibration. So if you are saying, if I have a pie and I have a piece of pie and somebody else wants a piece of pie, then my piece of pie is going to be smaller, because we have to divide that pie between so many of us. Bake more pie. Just bake more pie. That's all the universe understands is, oh, you want pie too? Okay, here you go. Here's a whole pie. If that's what you're open to receiving. But if you think, you get your blinders on and you're thinking there's only enough pie to go around because there's only this one pie, you're stopping yourself. You're stopping it. Don't do that. There's more pie. Just bake more pie. Raise your vibration and know that your slice or your pie is not diminished by somebody else also getting pie. Hopefully that makes sense. So, top 3 things that if you're not really sure what you want to wish for, what you want to manifest, here's some 3 ideas for you. You can wish for a new or better way of being with your family. Like I said, lockdown has made us all a little crazy. Or maybe it was really good for your relationships, but there's always room for improvement, right? Maybe, like I said, just reconnecting, rekindling that spark with your loved ones. Or if it drove you crazy and forced you apart from your loved ones, maybe now's a good time to reconnect. And just kind of let bygones be bygones, bury the hatchet, and get on with life. Second thing, just believe in yourself more. Cancerians, I love you all. I so much do. Some of my best friends are Cancerians. But you can be rather insecure. I know, I understand. I really do. But instead, just try to believe in yourself more. Or maybe just ask for guidance to help yourself in your self-esteem. So maybe take a look at this past year, whether it's back from January or the last June of last year. How is your life different? What have you learned about yourself with everything that's been going on in the country for the last 6 months, the craziness that has happened? See how maybe, have you changed? Have you changed your outlook? Have you always known that this was a problem, and now that it's at the surface, you're able to take a look at it through a different lens, and maybe you're more active rather than passive? Whatever it is for you, take a look and see how you have changed, how you've learned, how you've grown over the last year. And maybe that will help you with your self-esteem as well. Third thing, just set some goals. What do you want to achieve this second half of 2020? I know. It's been a dumpster fire. I know. It's crazy. Everything that's been going on, like I said, when we were making our New Year's resolutions on December 31st, 2019, this is not at all how things were going. Even back in March before everything shut down, I was certainly on my way to manifesting what I wanted to achieve this year, and then boom, the brakes got smashed through the floor. Just absolutely halted. So we have a blueprint of our lives and what we want to achieve. And sometimes when we apply the theory, it doesn't necessarily work out. So we have to go back and make some amendments to those blueprints. That's okay. This is all about wishing. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? If there was nothing standing in the way, what would you do? What would you want? What do you want your life to look like? And like I said, this or something better, because redirection is God's protection, right? So you might say, I want a new job. Even though places might not necessarily be hiring right now, there might be hiring freezes or whatever's going on. I would like to have a new job by the end of the year. Okay, great. So what does that look like? What does it look like for you? So this could manifest into a totally new job. It could be a promotion at your current work, or it could be a totally different workplace. It could be that there's a change just in your current position. You might stay right where you are, but some things around you might change. Be open to whatever is given to you. So what does your ideal work environment look like? What kind of coworkers do you have? Do you have coworkers? Do you work from home? Are you going to continue working from home? Maybe that's been really great for you. And you've done well with that. Where maybe before you didn't know that you could work from home and still be productive and still get along with people and still, take care of what you need to take care of on a daily basis. So what does it look like? Really outline what you want that to look like. And then if you have a goal of maybe you want to hone a skill. So how are you going to do that? Maybe one of your goals is, I want to cook healthier meals for my family. Okay, that's a great goal to have. Action steps. What can you do? Maybe you'll take some cooking classes online, or maybe you'll just find new recipes and just try it. My lovely wife started a garden, and it's doing really, really well. Something like that. Just start a wish list. Write it down. Dream big. Don't be afraid to say, I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go on a Caribbean cruise. Whatever it is. I know that sounds really crazy right now, but we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. 6 months ago, we didn't know what this was going to happen, what this was going to look like. So just get out there. Do a wish list. See what you want to do. Say what you want to do. Write it down on a piece of paper, or put it in a memo in your smartphone or your tablet. And look back on it on New Year's Eve and see what maybe happened. Also, think about what you want to release. So you can write it down. You can put it in the comments if you're super brave, or just hold the thought and just let it go. Let go of fear, especially. So the goddess Kali is really great for that. I've been working a lot with her, and Yasmin Bolin has been doing a really great thing since quarantine, where she's been doing a chant to Kali Ma. She is the great destroyer, and she can destroy what no longer serves you. So you can release what no longer serves you in whatever area of your life, leave the past behind, so that you can manifest, so that you can set and attain those goals, or at least work towards attaining those goals. And also Archangel Gabriel is really good. I see Gabriel as androgynous. Some people see male, some people see female. In this particular case, I tend to see her as female. She is the messenger archangel. She's the one that brought the message to Mary that she was going to give birth to Jesus. So she's really great with communication and creativity and art and journaling, writing, anything with communication and art. So you can ask for her assistance with Mercury Retrograde, with your communication, also with the new moon eclipse in Cancer, with leaving the past behind, so that you can, like write down those goals and how to achieve those goals. And the goddess Diana is also really good at that. So there's some, I thought I had a whole list of, maybe it didn't print out, a whole list of crystals that can help you during this time. So shungite is really great for your electronics. Some people cover their electronics in shungite because it absorbs the negative energy and the EMF, whatever the radiation is that comes off of cell phones and computers, and TVs, electronics in general. Black tourmaline's great for protection. Obsidian absorbs negative energy. Amazonite and lapis lazuli help with communication and cleansing your aura and just making sure that you're good to go with communication. Clear quartz is the ultimate stone, so you can always use clear quartz for everything. It's fantastic. My trusty labradorite, grounding energy. Rose quartz to help with the relationships. Visit my friend Joy Mitchell at the Crystal Den. She is wonderful when it comes to telling you all about the crystals, all about the things that you might need to help you navigate Mercury retrograde or the eclipse in manifesting. Pyrate's great for manifesting. Angelite is wonderful as well to connect with the angels. So Archangel Gabriel, if you're so inclined. So feel free to reach out to her if you have any questions or for all of your crystal needs. So thank you very much for linking that. Does anyone have any questions? That was a lot of me talking. I'm going to pull a couple cards from the Moonology deck here by lovely Yasmin. See what we've got. I'll pull one or two. We'll see what comes out for Mercury retrograde, and then one or two for the eclipse. My poor son, he gets the hiccups like I do, because man, when we get hiccups, it's like an all-day thing. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. All right. Let's see what we've got for Mercury retrograde. What do you need to release? Isn't that what I just talked about? What do you need to release? And conclusions are within reach. This is the full moon eclipse. So we just had the Sagittarius full moon eclipse back on June 5th. We've got the new moon eclipse now in Cancer. And then July 5th, we have another full moon eclipse. I think it's going into Capricorn because the moon doesn't follow the sun necessarily. That's why Sagittarius was back on the 5th of this month. And then the balsamic moon, time for healing. Beautiful. Love it. All right. So now let's take a look at, so those are your Mercury retrograde ones. Let's take a look at the Cancerian new moon eclipse. No idea. Here's a kitty cat around here somewhere. He's rotten. Nothing is yet set in stone. So, go manifest. Go do all the new moon wishing, and remember that it's not set in stone. Things can change. A personal issue reaches conclusion. Okay, this is the full moon in Cancer. I still think it's very pertinent that a personal issue reaches resolution. So, like I said, with your relationships, a win-win outcome. Yep, win-win. Full moon in Libra. My moon is in Libra, so hey. I love that. Win-win outcome is in the forecast. Look how pretty that is. Don't mind my Band-Aid. I had a little snafu when I was building my new desk today. Didn't go too well. But there you go. I thought it was appropriate to use this Moonology deck. It's absolutely beautiful. Put these in upside down. So, if you have any questions, if you're having trouble navigating the waters of this Mercury retrograde and the new moon, please feel free to contact me. I will help you as best I can. Being a spiritual coach, I do not diagnose. I just help you look within for the answers. So happy to do card readings as well for you. Maybe I will. I'll pull a tarot card. Let's see. I'm using my Thelema deck. Beautiful cards. We'll see. If the Tower comes out, I will laugh. That would just be really, really funny. So, also Reiki session, or if there's something that I can help you with, like if you have to have surgery, like my daddy, or if you're going to be traveling and you would like some Reiki to be sent for safe travels, let me know. Happy to assist you in any way that I can, or even just send you some prayers. Let me know. I haven't done the YouTube readings yet for the week, so my bad. Usually do those on Sundays, but it just didn't happen today. Shocking, right? Mercury retrograde. It's okay. They'll get done. All right. Well, let's see what they want to say. What can we expect? Oh, the Seven of Swords in reverse. That's cool. So when it's upright, it looks like this. Hopefully you can see that. But in reverse. So this is about sneaky behavior. People taking what isn't theirs. So in reverse, that's a good thing. Could be coming back. And then you could also be making a decision of some sort with the Two of Swords here. Swords are logical, very logical. And then the star. Yeah, wish upon a star. That's beautiful. So if you're struggling a little bit here, especially with these swords, just know it's all good. It's all gonna work out. Make your wishes, manifest what you deeply, deeply desire. And like the moon card said, it's gonna be positive. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. Hopefully you received some sort of insight and some tips on how to navigate these waters over the next 3 weeks to 6 months. And feel free to contact me if you have questions or would like a personal reading. And plug for our psychic fair, which is not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, the 27th. Oh my gosh, wait, is that this Saturday? Oh my gosh, that's this Saturday. Oh, hi. How are you, Tara? So, hopefully you will be able to join us. So, is it Wednesday or Thursday? We are going live Wednesday. It's on my Willow Tree Healing page. We're going to be doing a fun little promo with the four of us, me, Rick, Tish, and Steve, just to answer any questions that you have about the psychic fair, give you more information about the services that we are all offering, and I'm sure it will be a really good time because we're a fun group of people. We enjoy laughter. Rick is endlessly entertaining, and it'll be a lot of fun. So please join us for that. And if you have any questions ahead of time that you want to ask or to send us, please feel free to do so. You can comment on the event page, or you can send us personal messages. Either way. And we'll also let you know how booking should be open. So book your spot if you're interested. And hope to see you for the Facebook Live. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an easier time navigating the energy, and that everything goes well for you all. So just be careful, triple check everything, indulge in self-care, and make your wishes. Have a fabulous evening, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.